So guys, Bitcoin hit 68,000 today. Tomorrow the markets are going to be opening up. We have some specific events that are happening during this week, and everyone thinks that we might be shooting up to 70K, but others believe we might be deviating lower before we shoot up. Overall, we're less than 10 days away from the US election, and we have a whole bunch of events coming up that you need to be aware of. But other than that, if you're new to my channel, go ahead and check out the rest of my content. I'm an intermediate trader documenting my journey, showing you guys my wins, my losses, and keeping you guys updated on the market so you guys can capitalize on these events. But other than that, let's go ahead and jump into it. So guys, like how I said earlier today, we hit 68,000. If we look at the daily pattern of Bitcoin, we have been seeing a specific pattern since mid-August, pretty much busting up, sweeping a specific region, deviating, and then continuously going up. But overall right now, guys, if we look at the 4-hour time chart, you can see that we hit 68,000 earlier today, which was quite nice. Everyone was getting super bullish, but you know, Justin Bennett was talking about how once we get to that region, that's pretty much going to test if we're going to start to shoot up. And based off of this price action, it looks like we might honestly be shooting down because this positive, you know, sentiment that we're seeing is getting weaker and weaker. Justin Bennett talked about it about 6 hours ago based off of how we needed to see that price action test. He says, seeing a lot of liquidity build above the Thursday and Friday highs, given where Bitcoin is trading, the upcoming Asia session could target these shorts. Whether we get a pullback from there will depend on what happens at 68,240. And we hit that again, guys, earlier today, and whenever we hit that region, we, you know, started to trade up a little bit, but based off of, you know, the strength of the positive price action that we're seeing, I think we're going to be deviating lower. It's just pretty much based off of the math and also the patterns that we've been seeing since August. It's hard to see if you keep looking at a 4-hour time chart, but that's whenever I try to look at a daily time chart, guys, and then from there you can actually see the pattern that we've been, you know, shaping through. Overall, though, we've been following this price action since about like 2 weeks ago, whenever Bitcoin was starting to deviate lower and then had that huge rip up last week. But overall, with this price action, guys, we could be testing, and since we didn't, you know, have a positive price action after we tested that 68.2 region, I could honestly see a deviation towards the lower point. Overall, though, everyone has different perspectives. Mustache says Bitcoin weekly close in a few hours, 67,700 was reclaimed. Again, you don't know how bullish this was. I hope the market makers don't shake you out of the market the day before yesterday. And then he goes on to say on one of his older posts, Bitcoin, as long as Bitcoin holds 67,700 to 68,000 here, we'll see 70,000 in his opinion. But at the end of the day, guys, the reason why we're talking about this price action, the 68.2 region, is based off of a current support that we saw off of the close. And, you know, once we see that specific region, we want to be able to break out. And, you know, once we have a breakout, that's whenever we can start to go crazy. We need to have a reclaim of that 68.2 region. And right now, every time we get to it, it seems like it's more of resistance, and we need to flip that to support. So overall, guys, that's pretty much the basics around Bitcoin. Other than that, that's all you really need to know about what is going on with Bitcoin, the deviations that we could be seeing towards that 65,000 region, as well as 63. But overall, we need to follow, you know, what's currently going on based off of, you know, that price action with Bitcoin. And every time we get to that 68.2 region, we don't have the strength, guys, to pretty much combat what's going on. Overall, though, in terms of events that are happening this week, that are more likely going to have an effect on the markets, which is in effect going to have an effect on the crypto markets. Key events. So we have the CB consumer confidence data on Tuesday, JOLTS job data on Tuesday as well. We have the US Q3 2024 GDP data on Wednesday with a whole bunch of companies, which is really crazy. So a lot of data also coming around big corporations in the stock market, which is going to have an effect. We have the September PCE inflation data on Thursday, October jobs report on Friday, and a 20% of S&P 500 companies reporting earnings this week. So like how I said, we have a whole bunch of companies going to be sharing their earnings based off of what's currently going on with those companies in the S&P 500, 20% of them. Overall, the top 20%, all the huge companies like Google and a few other ones. Huge week ahead of us, kicks off a busy week for November. So overall, guys, we do have a whole bunch of events that are going to be taking place, and knowing that, you know, specific key events are going to be happening are also going to have an effect effect on the markets. That's why I do believe that we might even have a few deviations, to the lower point before, the US election, before everything takes off. And then from there, we might have a post-election pump. In terms of, altcoins, everyone thinks that we're super bullish in terms of what we're seeing in the crypto markets with specific charts, guys. You need to be keeping up with specific charts in terms of like the others, total market 2, total 2, total 3 charts, stuff like that. Overall, right here, you can see the most bullish monthly cross for altcoins is imminent as soon as... Oh, my light just did some funny business. We just turned white. Okay, as soon as this happens, all our bags will fly crazy, in his opinion. So, guys, there's specific regions that overall are, lining up, showing that altcoins are on the verge of ripping out, but everything is going to follow the price action around Bitcoin. So you need to follow the price action around Bitcoin to really determine what's going to be happening with altcoins. If you look at the current, sentiment of altcoins, what's going on in terms of price action around them, everything is still down quite nasty for the 7-day. We have been seeing some positive price action today for a few coins, mainly in the AI and meme sector, which we've been following really heavily in this space. But overall, in terms of when we could be seeing that huge rip up, CryptoCon gives a great chart showing whenever we see, the lowest price action in the markets before we see a huge rip up. And there's a great chart that follows this, which is the UTXOs in loss. So overall, it says on September 11th this year, Bitcoin UTXOs in loss reached its highest point ever, toppling the 2020 COVID crash and the September 2023 bottom. Major spikes in UTXO loss don't come right before terrible price action. They come at the end of it. When loss is at the high, there's only up to go from there. Data continues to point to good things ahead. So guys, we've been following multiple indicators on this YouTube channel as to why we're going to be ripping up, but this is another great specific indicator showing exactly whenever we start to see a lot of price action for Bitcoin. If you don't know what UTXOs is, it's pretty much unspent transaction output, pretty much a setup around Bitcoin, and whenever we have transactions on the blockchain. So currently right now, we have been seeing high reports of that, and usually whenever we see these specific spikes, guys, it's usually right before a huge pivot in the markets. As you can see, it happened in 2018 at the bottom that we saw in 2018, the mid top in November 2019, as well as the Black Swan event we saw in March of 2020, and then as well in the major bottom pivot in September of 2023. So we have seen it again, guys, and based off of this data, it just shows that we're on the verge of a crazy rip. And based off of all the catalyst events that are currently coming out in the markets, specific data that's coming out, as well as the price action that we're currently seeing, we're honestly on the verge of crazy gains. But like how Mustache says, I don't completely agree with his perspective on how bullish we are in this space, like of the price action around Bitcoin and how he thinks we're just going to be popping off to 70K. But I do hope that you didn't get shooken out of the market pretty much based off of this price action. I think in terms of whenever we're following Bitcoin, that's why it's good to have a broad perspective of Bitcoin, following from a few months perspective, seeing exactly the patterns and price action that we're seeing, and then from there also going a little bit more macro on that 4-hour chart to be able to see exactly what's currently going on the macro, and the dominance that we're seeing in terms of that bearish and bullish support. But overall, guys, I think in terms of where we're at right now, we're trading at 67.9. Markets open up tomorrow. We have some big events taking place. Justin Bennett wanted to see exactly what's going to be happening once we hit that 68.2 region, and we honestly see a pullback every time we hit it. So it's honestly resistance right now. Until we flip it and reclaim that region and turn it into support, we're not going to be shooting up to 70K. We might touch a few specific zones, but until we see a proper reclaim and strength around that reclaim, we aren't going to see a rip up to 70K, and you need to be aware of this just because altcoins are going to be taking hits from this. Other than that, though, like I said, we have specific events that are going to be happening in the week, so I want you guys to keep up with the price action around Bitcoin, as well as how these events are going to have an effect on the markets and the US markets. Altcoins are still at a good buy right now. Overall, there's a lot of coins that are really down, but we're still having positive days for altcoins just because right now we're having huge shifts, a lot of sentiment on specific projects, as well as where everyone's going in terms of sector performance. Overall, though, that's what's currently going on in the crypto markets, guys. We have a whole bunch of news events that are coming out during this week, as as well as the US election that is coming up in less than 10 days. On top of that, we have a whole bunch of catalyst events that are coming up that a lot of people probably forgot about, like the FTX distributions that are going to be coming up. We have the Fed cuts and a few other different things that are going to be having a real effect on the crypto markets. Overall, we're setting up for something big, guys. I'm going to keep you guys updated on the daily events of what's going on in the crypto market so that you guys can have an understanding of what's going on and also capitalize on the markets. Overall, though, you know, right now is the time to diamond hand, stay strong, and just wait to see exactly what's going on with the price action around Bitcoin. From there, we're going to know exactly if we're going to be deviating lower harder or if we're going to shoot up really crazy. But overall, guys, if you're new to my channel, go ahead and check out the rest of my content. I'm an intermediate trader documenting my journey, showing you guys my wins, my losses, and keeping you guys updated on specific events that you guys can capitalize in this 2024 crypto bull cycle. Overall, we're on the verge of crazy gains. We're really close to the US election. Bitcoin is getting ready for a huge rip up based off of specific charts and indicators that we've been following. Just stay committed, guys. Crazy gains are going to be coming in, life-changing wealth, and I can't wait to document it and pretty much say exactly what is going on. But overall, I'll keep you guys updated on the daily events. Drop me a like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think of my perspective on the crypto space. Also, go follow me on X. I'm trying to get monetized on there as well as this YouTube channel. So I appreciate all the support you guys show me. But other than that, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.